Hey everyone, thanks for joining. We'll just give it a few minutes while people are finding their way in. Alrighty, I think we can get going. Carlos is actually traveling right now, so he just asked me to take over and kick this off. So thanks all the SIG leads for filling out the community meeting notes. Yeah, we'll just start diving right in. So as a reminder, the llm-d community does have a code of conduct. You can find a link for it in the community notes. There should be a link to it shared in the Google Meet chat. So you can find links to the notes and all the other links we're talking about in there. If you're not in the Slack, you can join the Slack following the link in the docs. That's where all the conversations are happening. So we'd love to have you join us. Just to update, I know we talked a few weeks ago about the CNCF sandbox donation progress. So that is the first step is done, which is great. The vote is passed. 9 were in favor and 2 abstained from voting. Those 2 were Red Hat affiliated, so they abstained from the vote. But pretty exciting news that is process is starting. There's some more steps along the way, but you can always follow that in the link to the application on the CNCF Sandbox GitHub. So we're just working internally on identifying assets, ownership, and things like that, and so that we can sign the contribution agreement. And so we should be doing that soon. If you were there at the New York City meetup, it was great to see you there. I'm glad you were able to join. But if you weren't able to join us, the recording is actually up on YouTube. So you can find the video there. Feel free to share it with your networks. And if you don't want to go to YouTube, that's fine. It's on the Google Drive also. And we do have the slide deck there as well, although I'm still waiting on Kenny's deck from AMD. So once we get that, his deck, I'll incorporate it into this as well. And then lastly, just FYI, next week is KubeCon EU. Quite a few llm-d talks and contributors are going to be happening there. So we're going to actually cancel the community meetup. I'll go ahead and update the calendar, but just an FYI for all the folks that are here that we'll skip next week and we'll come back to it the week after. All right, so I think just open it up now to an open forum. I know Jing, if you're here, you put a note on here that you wanted to kick us off with a demo of some of the stuff you're working on.
Yeah, so Andre and I would like to present the llm-d planner proposal to the community. So I can share that. So right now we have a PR in the llm-d repo. So if folks want to take a look, please go ahead and leave some feedback for us. But what this is about is really pulling the config explorer out of llm-d benchmark. So what the config explorer is that it sort of does like GPU capacity planning and also hardware recommendations to help users, sort of get an idea of how they can deploy their llm-d given a specific type of workload or latency target. But the thing is that for most use cases, the users don't really know what those numbers are. For example, what their traffic profile should be, what exactly should their latency or SLO targets be, or what token lengths they should be setting for their use case. And that seems to be a real barrier for many people. So that's where Neural Nav comes in. So Neural Nav is a tool that Red Hat has been developing. And what it does is that it really guides the users from a high-level description of their use cases to a deployment recommendation through an AI interface and it does like SLO driven capacity planning, and also converts from your natural language use case into a structured spec that maps to a specific traffic or latency target. And then it also provides scoring and recommendations across a variety of different perspectives, including like cost, latency, and accuracy. So we think bringing NeuroNav into Config Explorer would be extremely powerful because there's really a lot of overlap, and it's a natural fit for configuration planning for llm-d. So we want to bridge these two tools together so that users of llm-d can get a much better experience when it comes to planning for their llm-d deployment. And so we will have, NeuroNav handling the use case discovery side, while also having the Config Explorer capabilities for recommendation when benchmarking data does not exist to power those recommendations. So the idea is to bring in this llm-d planner component as part of this ecosystem. So the full write-up is in this PR. We look forward to getting reviewers and also approvers feedback. And if this is in your area of expertise, we also like to get your feedback on this issue. Yeah, that's it from me. Andre, do you have anything to add?
Excuse me, Ed. I think you did a great job kind of giving the overview. I'll just say that we also believe it'll be mutually beneficial to work together on this effort. And I'll also just point out that both in the PR and then in the Slack message that I posted, there's some links to some demos. So if you want to just get a quick look at what each of these projects do, those links are there. I did a demo for benchmarking SIG last week, I think it was, and then Jing did one on Config Explorer a little earlier this year. Thanks. And yeah, we'd appreciate any kind of feedback here. Thanks.
Yeah, I actually shared out a video that Jing did when she did her demo a few weeks ago. That's actually up on YouTube already. So Andre, I'll grab your video as well, and we can share that out on the social.
Yeah, so mine is, I couldn't edit the meeting, so if I could do that, I could just trim out the demo, but I don't have.
Okay, I can do that. If it was recorded as part of the meeting, I'll just go grab the meeting recording and I'll just cut that out.
Okay, yeah, and now those are the link that I posted for Config Explorer is the one you're talking about.
Awesome. Sounds great. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi. So, I just want to weigh in because originally we had all that. We still have all that on the llm-d benchmark, core maintainer. We have had several discussions, and there are several benefits on having this pulled out of benchmark. There is a particular component here, which is the capacity planner that you keep using as inside the benchmark, but as a library. And it's important to note that even once this is fully pulled, the data generated by the benchmark can be consumed by it as to part of the recommender and the validator. I think someone asked a question about the data, the origin of the data. So it'd be good if you, Andre or Jing, could talk a little bit more about that. The data used on the planner, on the recommender.
Yeah, so the first class citizen of the data that will be powering this tool would be the llm-d benchmarking data. So the community database, which llm-d will be, kind of keeping track of. So that will be the first data that will be used to make these recommendations. But for specific use cases, that data might not be available, right? Especially for the user. So that's where the Config Explorer will come in, because it provides roofline analysis capabilities to fill in the gaps for data that doesn't exist. So it'll give you some performance data estimates if benchmarking data doesn't exist. Yeah.
Excellent. Any other questions or thoughts? Great. We can just take any other questions that come up. We can go into Slack and go from there. So any other items for open forum before we move on? All right. Let's dive in with SIG installation. Oh, I'll share my screen out too, the notes. Greg, I thought I saw you here. Greg, oh yeah, you're here. Hey.
I am. I'm trying to wait for the screen to unblur. Let me open up the notes on my side. Marcio can also go ahead and comment.
No, you can go ahead, man. I'll comment on the benchmark anyway, so
Okay.
I don't have to comment on both.
Yeah, well, so I mean, we got our 051 release out. Lots of big improvements there. We're looking at some changes as well coming up for 06. I think the rough ETA of that is 2 weeks. So we're hoping to kind of ship a lot of refactor changes that we were hoping in terms of kind of rebuilding this experience. We're still kind of undecided on the whole customized vHelm thing, but what I'm really talking about is like some other build improvements, like the way that we kind of calculate which packages go into builds and stuff like that. So those are kind of listed below. Yeah, and things are progressing. We're starting to, we have like a rough list of what we're trying to get in on this 2 week time frame.
Just wanted to add that we are making a lot of progress on having all the guides tested in multiple cloud providers on nightly benchmarks. That has been an ongoing effort. Took us a lot longer than we would like, but we expect to have that in a basically full coverage for V06.
Sounds good. Does that also loop in the SIG CI/CD stuff too, Greg?
Yeah. Oh, I guess the only thing there is that I think we had asked to kind of update some of our images. And so there's a PR there that will build off of llm-d 017.1. There's not the official image that we are most likely going to use as a base image, but this should be something that people can build off of and start to consume that as a dev image.
Excellent. Sounds good. SIG PD DSAG?
Yeah, so first of all, we cut VLM 0.18.0 on Monday. Not released yet. I think we're on like RC 1 or 2 right now. So in that, we've got Nixle support for SSM, HMA, and so sliding window, and also like Mamba 2 kind of models. So GPT OSS sliding windows will only transfer the part of the sliding window that is relevant for inference going forward, and then support like Nemotron Super and like Quen 3.5 will be supported for KV transfers as well. There's a couple open items there. One, async scheduling is broken. Not sure what's going on there. And then we have another open issue with a prospective fix where we're updating the SSM state twice, which we do compute the first decode token twice in PD, and now it's an actual issue that we need to solve. And then we've also been working hard on GB200 YDP support. So we landed NVFP4 expert parallel load balance, which greatly improved performance at scale. And we've been working through over the past week or so some NVFP4 basically LM eval issues where we would watch the score drop slowly over time while the server was running benchmarks, also cratering EPLB performance. So we have a prospective fix that we're gonna plan to cut into, cherry pick into 0.18. And then I'm working on an llm-d image based on CUDA 13 VLM 0.18.0 release candidate for doing some llm-d DP aware routing benchmarking for YDP. And then also the Nixle team has been pushing on Elastic EP support. So we've also landed Nixle EP, which is another all-to-all backend where you don't have to resize the communicators as you bring in and drop off ranks. Yeah, basically auto scaling within a YDP instance of VLM. Yeah, that's it. Back to you.
Awesome. Sounds great. Inference scheduler?
Yeah, thanks, Pete. Okay, so Greg published a multi-LoRa serving guide, basically, which explains this is capability that llm-d has. It supports multi-models and multi-LoRa, but some questions arose, and he wrote a great guide on how multi-LoRa can be deployed in llm-d. Flow control layer, there is a new user guide that is published. You are welcome to try flow control, which allows SLOs and fairness. There is in progress work on dynamic LoRa placement balancing, which is, there is a LoRa aware score, which allows sending requests where LoRa is loaded, but this is, we are trying to have something a bit smarter, which makes sure that the LoRa's are contained in subset of the pool, and then if it is too loaded, then extended to other pods. As for build, there is removal of the CGO dependency. There is some code cleanups that we are doing, removing redundant code that was related to DP aware. And in addition, there is a plugin on the work for agentic support. There is a draft PR on scheduling policies, and basically some benchmarking and evaluation is done on this work. That's it on our side.
Excellent. KV disaggregation.
Yeah, a few updates here. We'll work on verbosity at some point. So on the VLM side, the whole disaggregated tokenization frontend or disaggregated frontend in general is progressing well. I think we're at the point where we actually have a class that handles all forms of user inputs and puts out generate request structure that has the information needed to work on a pass or on inference pass. So great work there by Sagi and Yunkyun Moon. I think only the last item is yet to land, which is the gRPC server support for the new VLM endpoint VLM launch render CLI endpoint and capability. We also published an RFC on context-aware KV cache retention API. Again, there we have an initial implementation there, progressing benchmarking and value proof, you can say. So give it a look, raise concerns if you have. Otherwise, we'll sync with maintainers and move on to pushing the code or start on that end. On tokenization, Antonio contributed a new plugin for tokenization in the inference scheduler. So again, this connects with the disaggregated tokenization work, in which we're aiming to have a full VLM or model engine-based tokenization / user input processing service that runs on the scheduler level and not within a scorer plugin, such as the precise prefix cache one. So Antonio landed a plugin there. Good effort across a few repos, and the VLM renderer integration. So again, from the first point on the work on VLM, so we're wrapping that in our UDS tokenization service, so that in llm-d 06 we'll make full use of this new very convenient class and disaggregation. On offloading, so the HMA support front is still progressing, PRs, reviews, and feedback cycles. I think even with the release delay, it may not land, but it's progressing. The file system connector or KV offloading connector was aligned with VLM 017. We'll align it with 18 as well once it's formally cut. GDS support for the FS connector has been PR'd and is in reviews by Kfir. And Alberto contributed better pooling better pooling to avoid starvation that was observed, or read-writer starvation that was observed in the file system connector. On the scheduling front, we have speculative indexing about to land. That's pretty much functional functional equivalence of the inference gateway approximate prefix cache scorer contributed by Bongo Bak. A proposal for HMA-aware prefix cache scheduling was put together by Kapil. Give it a look, leave your comments. A proposal for storage KV cache indexing. So, with storage, you have a large scale, much larger scale than GPU and CPU, or potentially a larger scale. So Alberto is proposing support for that. These two may most likely not land in 06, but perhaps shortly after. KV events abstraction landed by Naomi. The follow-up will be supporting SG-Lang. And the KV event structure was updated with extra keys for multimodality by Rishab. One last item on agentic inference. So for agentic benchmarking or useful agentic trace benchmarking, there's a proposal and an RFC in inference perf. Give it a look. There's a POC. There's a coded POC already that will be published at some point. And that's it.
Great, thank you. Sig, benchmarking.
Sorry, just two things real quick. So we finally had our V05 release based on the llm-d code and V0501. So there, a reminder to everyone that we have this significant code refactoring. Everything now is Python pip package. We aim to merge that probably next week or the week after the next. Release V06 to have this new code. I renew my plea that I did last meeting is please, if you have some particular feature functionality, talk to us. No need to start a new independent benchmark effort. We're really trying to accommodate every SIG as quickly as possible on this one. That's it.
Great, thank you. I don't know if Sally's here or anyone from SIG Observability. Didn't see them in the list. We'll just we'll skip over that for now, but we'll hop on over to SIG Autoscaling.
Yeah, sure. So we released P0.6 release candidate 1, and in this release there are some bug fixes. The majority change is a CRD change that is driven by requirements from KServe community. There are also E2E enhancements. So for WBA, there are now 2 modes. At a high level, there are like fast and slow modes for E2Es. And this release has many contributions from several new committers or contributors to WBA. So thank you for that, and thank you for making this 0.6 release candidate 1 happen. So right after the release, we are focusing a lot more on benchmarking, and there is a draft PR that is up that helps with automated benchmarking and scoring. WBA at this point has 2 concrete scaling mechanisms, and in the very near future it will have at least 4 of them. So we are trying to spend some time on benchmarking and how do we evaluate multiple auto scaling algorithm based upon the scenario or the workload one has. So this is still a work in progress. This will likely spill beyond this release, but just FYI, we have started this effort and working on it. That's it. Yep.
Sounds good. And then, yeah, we've got some folks chat about the network stack. It looks like I see Alex
yes,
here.
Me and Praveen. Praveen is traveling, so I'm doing update. We are working with NVIDIA, that is IBM and Red Hat, on changes and improvements in Nixel, and in particular support for TCP. And we have some benchmarks and so on. We will be sharing it in future. Right now, we are waiting for NVIDIA. They are very busy with their conference. And then also in parallel, we are doing work on UCL and in particular intranode support, and comparing with UCX as an alternative to use with Nixel backend. So that's it. We will have more in future.
Excellent. Sounds great. All right. Anyone have any other questions or topics that they want to bring up before we separate here? Anything else? So yeah, just as a reminder, we'll cancel next week's meeting. If you weren't here earlier when we announced it, I'll make a note in here and also send a message out in the Slack and elsewhere. So if you're going to be at KubeCon EU, have fun. I will not be out there, but looking forward to seeing the talks afterwards, and we'll get those as well shared out to the community. So if you are speaking out there, best of luck, have fun, and yeah, we'll see you all in 2 weeks. Excellent. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.